the story is starting in even New Zealand, which is a flotilla that is anchored high above the Auckland harbour because the world is flooded in the future.
7 years ago, Peter Casali left his job to fulfill his dream of creating a video game. After 4.5 years of meticulous planning, he released Battlecruisers. A game where warships battle it out against the backdrop of post-apocalyptic floating cities.
You build stuff on your cruiser, which is pretty cool. Then you have a look at your other guys, see what they're building.
The gameplay might sound easy, but Peter knew cracking into the video game market wouldn't be so cruisy after seeing friends spending a heap of time and money for very little in return.
They got 11 sales. 11. So at the start, my friend's goal was, if we get 12 sales, we'll be okay.
When Battlecruisers made it onto the front page of Steam, one of the world's most popular game distribution sites, Peter began to believe he might beat that target.
Yeah, I was out on the deck just whooping like a howler monkey, really loud. And then someone else on the street whooped back at me, so we started a whooping exchange.
3 years later, Battlecruisers has just ticked over 1 million downloads on Android mobile. And with a new edition that'll see it available on iPhones, the floodgates are open for a whole raft of new users. But despite these breakthroughs, Battlecruisers' small team have yet to convert that into a sustainable living.
We're all getting paid less than minimum wage, all 5 of us on the team, but we all can see the big potential.
While Peter's committed to playing the long game, he says there's not enough incentive to keep budding game developers in the country. In Australia, the government offers a 30% rebate for eligible developers. When that federal rebate's combined with state-based initiatives, some projects stand to recoup 45% of their development costs. In this year's budget, the New Zealand government followed suit with a similar scheme, although this rebate comes in at just 20%.
That's bringing a knife to a gunfight.
Rebates are something the New Zealand Game Developers Association has been pushing for some time. Board member Stephen Knightley says while New Zealand's offer has slowed the brain drain, they could do with more.
This isn't so much a case of trying to attract Hollywood productions to move to New Zealand. It's about New Zealand owners and creators staying in New Zealand.
Companies have to spend $250,000 before they can access the New Zealand rebate, ruling out some smaller companies like Peter's. But Stephen says other forms of support are out there.
We've also made sure there's some startup programs being introduced as well. And so the Centre of Digital Excellence, which started in Dunedin and has now also got the funding now to go nationwide, that's got grants of $50,000.
Game design lecturer at the University of Auckland, Alan Fowler, says New Zealand's game industry shows great promise, but it can be hard to catch a break as a young developer. He says New Zealand studios are now fielding CVs from far more experienced developers overseas.
That's a real challenge, and we've been talking about creating internships, getting support from the government in terms of supporting the industry by taking New Zealand graduates.
Support that could help to bring about the next Battlecruisers.